Hello and welcome to another subscription box recap, this being Illumicrate 2023, because we can't do 2024 without rolling back the clock. So let's get it rolled. So to my mind, Illumicrate is the biggest subscription book box in the UK. It stands on the same sort of level as Fairytale, and it wouldn't surprise me if they were owned by the same people. It was the very first subscription box I signed up for, and I was on the wait list for around 2 weeks, which surprised the hell out of me because I thought that it would be months before I got that email saying that come subscribe, come spend your money and we'll give you pretty books. Oh, I was drawn in hook, line and sinker. Now, my subscription in 2023 started in March, and this being Illumicrate, we are going to go through the items, the books, the artists, because they actually say who the artists are, and its resale value and its average rating, my rating if I've read it. I have read more of the Illumicrate books than I have of any other subscription box that I have on my shelf. So my very first Illumicrate book box was in March, like I said, and the theme was Live Like Legends. And it came with the following items. So we're going to go items and then we're going to go book. So it came with the following items. I'm going to put a picture up here, or that's on their website, of what the items came in. A very, very artistic Instagram picture. Now I still have the Greek book pot, which is over here. For someone like me who loves Greek myth, it is just beautiful. And I use this book pot as I think you're supposed to like put them on your bookshelf like that and put flowers in them. But I don't like the thought of water being anywhere near these. So what I use it for is for putting bookmarks in and just standing it on my shelf. So here are a few of my bookmarks. In they go. And they go on my Greek shelf. Now the other thing that I kept from this book box was the little teapot, because it's cute. I don't use it for tea, way too pretty to be used. So this also sits on my Greek bookshelf over here with a couple of my Santorini cups. Now the stickers, I didn't have anywhere at the time to put any stickers. If I'm remembering rightly, I think I threw them away. But the lunch bag I keep, but it's not here with me because it's up in my suitcases in the loft, because I use it when I'm going away to put all my toiletries in, because the thing is massive. It's about this big, and open it up and it's just, there's so much you can fit in there, and I wouldn't use it as a lunch bag. But the book for this month, remember the theme was Live Like Legends, and the book for this month was Lies We Sing to the Sea by Sarah Underwood, and it is a debut historical fiction standalone novel. I love how much has gone into this cover. For a first book, it is just everything you could want, because it has all the gold foiling on here. So beautiful. And the way that her hair, the ships are getting lost in her hair, is just perfection. And we even have the gold foiling on the back as well, along with a book quote which says, "Her life to appease a god, his life to save a kingdom, her lies to destroy them all." Beautiful. Now with the spread edges we get block colour, and following from the cover we get the ship lost in the sea of hair. Really does follow on from this. And also the naked hardcover pulls no punches either, because look at this. It is just, it's dark blue with gold foiling again, and it is just everything you could want. And on the spine it is a quote from the book, which is, "Gods feed on the terror of mortals." and it is the same foiling on the back that it is on the front. I like when special edition books really use every inch that they possibly can. Inside, on the end papers, we have the character art. So we have Leto and Melantho. Yeah, I was right. We have this, and we have it signed by the author. And we even have gold foiling on the hem of her dress and her hair as well. It's a very nice touch. It's different artwork, and again utilises the gold foiling on the dress, the hair. It's understated but packs a visual punch. So let's get into what the blurb says. Death was only the start of her story. In the cursed kingdom of Ithaca, each summer brings a hanging of 12 maidens, a gift to the vengeful Poseidon. For 17 years, Leto has escaped the curse's mark, until now. But death does not claim Leto. Instead, she wakes on a mysterious island, greeted by the immortal Melantho, and she tells Leto that Ithaca's sacrifices are the legacy of the great Odysseus, payment for the lives of the Queen Penelope's 12 maids, cast into the ocean centuries ago. Leto has the chance to break the curse. She just has to kill the Prince of Ithaca. But Prince Matthias also seeks to free his kingdom from the curse. Torn by her growing love for both Melantho and Matthias, Leto must choose a path to follow. By breaking the curse, they will save thousands of lives. But if they fail, then the tides of fate will drown them all. So the average rating for this one on Goodreads is 3.4. I personally, when I read it, I rated it a 3. Did I like it? Yes. Did I love it? No. Did I hate it? No. It was marketed as a retelling of parts of the Odyssey. So loving Greek myth, growing up with it, loved it. I thought, that is a book for me. I am going to devour that. And I did devour it. But by the end, I was a bit disappointed because it's not adult. All the marketing I saw for it was adult. It's YA historical fiction. It leans into the Odyssey myth very remotely. It uses some of it, but it's not a retelling. And I use the word retelling because that is what the author said in interviews, that it was a retelling. It's not. It uses some of the myth to its own purpose, as myth retellings do, but it's not a retelling of that book in its entirety. So if you go in thinking that it is, you're going to end up disappointed. But that isn't to say that I didn't enjoy reading this, because I did. Once I'd started it, I couldn't put it down. I'll link the full review I did of this down in the comment section below if you want to go check that out. Let's get into the artwork. So this is the only one for 2023 that I can't find any names of any people that did any of the artwork. It does have content warnings as well. So the content warnings are: please be aware that Lies We Sing to the Sea includes content that may be distressing to some readers, including violence, death, graphic injury, non-graphic sexual assault, and suicide. But to my mind, it goes lightly on any of them if it includes them at all. Illumicrate, unlike some of the other book subscription boxes, does actually have its own shop on its own website. But this edition, currently isn't available anymore. So if you want this particular edition of this book, you are going to have to go to eBay. And this is reselling on eBay from £10 to £30. Now, the box, including all the little bits that come with, is about £36.38, so I'm going to say 37. So you're not going to get your money back if you want to sell this. I think it's been too long now, but it doesn't stop it being a very beautiful edition, and if you want this book, you could probably snag yourself a right bargain over on eBay. And I will link my eBay down in the comments below if you want to check out some of the special editions that I have on there. Now, like I keep saying that I love this cover, and I do. So let's compare it to its normal covers. Now we do get two different covers. We get the darker one and we get the white one down here. I definitely prefer the darker one to the white one because I think some of the art gets lost in the lighter coloured one. But I definitely prefer this one to these two. So to make a special edition special, I'd say that the cover has to be completely different to the normal covers. It most certainly is. I've never seen so much gold foiling on a book since. It's everywhere. Now we are into the month of April, and the theme for this month was Be My Enemy. And this month's book was Some Desperate Glory. And I don't have it physically in my hands because I hated the book, I read it all, and I sold it promptly. Not my cup of tea. But this is the Illumicrate edition. It's quite holographic. There's not much artwork on there. And the items that came in this box was these. Now, of these items, the only items I have left are the deer hanger, which goes with God Killer, which was the January Illumicrate book, but I missed out on the box. And this, you can put pins in it, which I don't have any pins, because since I got it, book boxes have only sent me magnets. And this glitter sword. You get, every time you go near it, you get glitter everywhere. I can't bear to part with it because it's pretty. And I use it in some of the book pictures that I make up. And it sits on my shelf with all my other little swords. Now, the card making thing, I put in the recycling box straight away because it's not my kind of thing. And at that point, eBay wasn't even a thing that I was selling anything on or buying anything from. The red drinking cup I used and used until I dropped it and smashed it. Cracked the lid, I smashed the straw, it dropped onto the concrete kitchen floor, and that was all she wrote. So, getting back to the book. I didn't DNF it, and I should have done. It is a standalone science fiction debut novel. And the average rating for this book is 4, and I rated it a 1. And it was lucky to get that. It only didn't get a DNF because I ploughed through it. I hated everything about this book. Mainly the main character. I think her name was Kia. I can't remember, and I don't want to. I hated this book. I hated the story. I hated the characters. I hated the ending. I hated everything about it, which I go into detail in the rant video I did on finishing it, which again you can find linked down in the description below. Let's get on to some of the artwork. So this is the Illumicrate cover. As you can see, it's holographic. There's not that much happening with it. This is the normal cover for it. It describes the book a lot better than this does. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because I hated it. And I mean hated it with a passion. So like I said, I sold this on eBay, and this particular Illumicrate version is going on eBay for anywhere from £10 to £85. Why? I'm apparently in the minority because of course its average rating is 4 and it's selling for that much money. Now I sold it for £23 because I wanted rid of it, and those listings that are of the higher value are still there because nobody's got the money to spend that much on a book. Not only that, it's selling for that much on eBay, and on Illumicrate's website it is still available. Brand new, signed, pretty. The book alone, not the stuff that goes with it. But the book is on Illumicrate's website for £17. Now this is a thing I don't think many people realise, is that the book boxes, the books that come in the book box, are available after a month or two on the book box website to buy. Go in and buy them like a normal bookshop, and they're not astronomically priced. So like I sold my copy for £23, and that was second hand from me to them. But they could have got a brand new copy for £17 from the website. So you get what I'm getting at? If you want a special edition, I'm going to say whenever we get to the books, I'm going to say whether they are available on the website or not, because I've researched. It might be that people just don't realise that that's an option. They see the book boxes and think that that is the only thing that these websites do, because things like the Locked Library, on their website you can't, they don't have a shop. It's either get them in the book boxes or get them on eBay. For Illumicrate and Illumicrate Evernight, which is the horror subscription, and Illumicrate Afterlight, which is the romance one, they're all available on the website. I advise you to go and have a look if you are wanting a special edition of any kind. And like I said, Some Desperate Glory is on there for £17. They're not astronomically priced, they are quite reasonable. So May's theme was What Lies Beneath. And the book offered up was Witch King by Martha Wells. Now this book is an adult fantasy, and at the time it was a standalone novel, but now it is the first book in a series, and the second book, which I can't remember the title offhand, is coming out this year. And you bet I have it on my calendar for when that one's coming out. Because although I hated last month's, this I loved, adored, beautiful. I loved and adored. I would hug it. It's huggable how good it was. Let's have a look at the artwork. So for a special edition, I think that the matte artwork on it is a bit duller than what I would usually think a special edition would look like. It looks better on camera than it does in real life. Like if I'm looking at it right here, it looks dark and dull. But if I'm looking at it on the camera, it looks brighter. It doesn't have much embellishment as much as this one did, because none of them have. To my mind, it says so much without hardly saying anything. Now on the back is praise for the book, praise for the author, which I don't like praise for the book being on the back of the dust jackets. It's a little thing, it's a personal pet hate, I just don't like it. And the sprayed edges are a block colour, and pattern. Now I don't much like the pattern. I know in my Locked Library video recaps, I play holy hell with them for using a wallpaper thing, and to my mind this is a fancier wallpaper, because it doesn't, and I've read the book and loved the book, but it doesn't to my mind represent anything inside the book. Now the naked hardcover is popping with this bright purple and again gold foiling. It is very, very busy on here. And it again has the gold foiling on the spine, but it doesn't have anything on the back this time. And on the front it says, I know who you are, the demon the mortals call King of the Witches. Do you promise revenge? Oh, it was promised. The artist that did this cover and the dust jacket is an artist on Instagram by the name of Chatty Nora. She is one of the main artists for Illumicrate's books. And scrolling through her stuff, it's like, I love it. She's so talented. I love it. And she also did the sprayed edges. Now the end pages are just art. I would hang these up as pictures in my home. Beautiful and amazing. Everything I like about this book is just everything I love. And the end paper artwork is by an artist called Isabeau Backhouse Art. And it does have a signature by the author, but it is just a squiggle. Let's get into the blurb. So there's another quote from the book, which is, I didn't know you were a demon. And the reply is, you idiot. I'm the demon. Ooh. After being murdered, his consciousness dormant and unaware of the passing of time while confined in an elaborate water trap, Kai wakes to find a lesser mage attempting to harness Kai's magic to his own advantage. That was never going to go well. But why was Kai imprisoned in the first place? What has changed in the world since his assassination? And why does the Rising World Coalition appear to be growing in influence? Kai will need to pull his allies close and draw on all his pain magic if he is to answer even the least of these questions. He's not going to like the answers. But I did. Now, I didn't know at the time, but Martha Wells is quite well known in the fantasy sect. I wasn't that much into fantasy at the time. I wasn't really that much into... I was just getting into bookish content. So I had absolutely no idea. I had never read anything from her before. This was the first thing I read, and its average rating on Goodreads is 3.7, which is a travesty. For me, 5 stars. 5 stars all the way. If I could give it more, I would. Because this, I loved it. I couldn't put it down. I stayed up reading it, loved it so much. So let's have a look what came in the box with this book. So in the box with that book is this. This plant pot came in it, which I don't use as a plant pot. I don't really use it as anything. It sits on my bookshelf, just down at the bottom with all my fairy tale books. If I put plants in it, I'd probably end up killing them, because I am no good with plants. Unless it doesn't need much care, as long as it doesn't need much love, I usually end up killing them. Now, another thing that came with it that does go with the book, and is this bookmark with its little dangling heart down here, which I use loads of times. It's thin, it's a bit flimsy, but I do love it. Now, another thing that came in the box was something that I don't use, which is this. This is sort of a bag that you can stand on your bookshelf and put your books in. But I don't see the point. I don't see the point of it. I don't know what I would use it for. So if anyone has any suggestions what I can use this for, because it's been shoved in a tin, in my sort of picture making tin for, well, since I got it, for over a year. It would say 18 months since I got it. I just don't know what to do with it. And the other thing that came in it was a moth sort of phone popper, which you can see on this picture. I did have it on my phone case until about a month or so ago, and I got sick of the phone case. It was all discoloured and well used, so it ended up going in the bin. But I got so much use out of that. So back to the book. On eBay, this book is available. In fact, the full box is available on the Illumicrate website. I probably should put in that I am not sponsored by Illumicrate to make this video, but it is available on their website for £27. You can find it on eBay selling from anywhere from £5, which is a bargain depending on the condition of the book, from £5 all the way to £30, which is more or less the end that you want to be at. At £27 for the full box, and it is less than that for the book itself, I would go check out the website if this edition of this book interests you. I'm all about trying to save you money. And myself, of course. I forgot to compare the covers. So comparing this cover to this is the normal everyday cover that I found on Goodreads, the only one. I do prefer this one. That is a whole lot, it is a whole design, but it doesn't really, it just seems like landscape with nothing happening, whereas this is of the main character, and he is obviously going to kick some ass. So June's theme was night and day, and the book was The Sun and the Void by Gabriella Lacruz. Is another debut. Illumicrate do a lot of debut fantasy novels, which I think is a fantastic thing. But this is a debut adult fantasy. It is first in the Warring Gods series, and let's just have a look at the cover, because although it is just black and white, it does have the gold foiling on it, but I think it really does pack a punch. And going onto the back, it's just great. And then on the back, no space is just not used. So on the back is a quote from the book. Rainier was a creature of the void, with her whispering monstrous heart. So the dust jacket was again done by Chatty Nora, and I think she really does a fantastic job on it. But she also did the sprayed edges, which this time go all the way around. That's the top. That's the bottom. And these are the sprayed edges. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And the fact that it's almost all aligned with the black and the white around on the cover and on the edges is just fantastic. And she also did the naked hardcover. I mean, look at this thing. It is a black hard case, but with so much gold foiling on here, it's practically a crime. But there is nothing on the back. But really, when a cover's this good, does there really have to be? Now the end pages, the end paper artwork is character art, and it is actually done by the author herself. So this is exactly what the author envisioned when writing this book. And it's the same artwork on the back, which I think is fantastic. That the author herself not only wrote this thing, but actually drew this too. I can only draw stickmen and I can't make them move. So people which are this talented just blows my mind. Let's get into the blurb. Rainier is desperate. Stuck living on the edges of society, her only salvation lies in an invitation from a grandmother she's never known. But the journey is dangerous, and prayer can't always avert disaster. Attacked by creatures that stalk the region, Raina is on the verge of death until her grandmother, a dark sorceress, intervenes. Now dependent on the Donna's magic for her life, Raina will do anything to earn and keep her favour, even the bidding of an ancient god who whispers to her at night. Eva Kasser is unwanted. Illegitimate and of mixed heritage, Eva is her family's shame. She tries her best to be perfect and to hide her oddities, but Eva is hiding a secret. Magic calls to her. Eva knows she should fight the temptation. Magic is the sign of the dark god, and using it is punishable by death. Yet it's hard to deny power when it has always been denied to you. Eva is walking a dangerous path, one that gets stranger every day, and in the end, she'll become something she never imagined. Now this has an average rating of 3.3 on Goodreads, and I don't have a rating for this one because I haven't read it yet. So, I don't know. I'm on the fence, but it certainly sounds interesting. So, let's get into things that came in the box. Now we did get these black and white bowls. They are quite big. They are currently in the kitchen cupboard downstairs. I did mean to bring them up to start recording, but now I can't be bothered to go and get them. But I use them for snacking and for anything else. They are quite deep. We have a cushion cover, which goes with the theme of being night and day, and goes with the book as well. I haven't used it simply because I don't have a cushion to put it on. So it stays with the other book thing in the bottom of my oddities tin. Now another thing that came in the box is these, which are still in the packet, as of course I haven't used them. They're to go on your shoelaces and really sort of jazz them up a bit. And we do have these sun and moon coasters, which I do use. They keep on my bookshelf and I stand things on them. But back to the book. Now this is quite chunky. It's more chunky than all of the other ones for this year. And it is hand signed by the author and a map. Now this is available on eBay. You can buy this and the box of goodies that goes with from anywhere from £14 to £40. On the actual Illumicrate website it is priced at £20. So you can either pay £40 for a second-hand copy, or you can go to the website and pay £20 and get it brand spanking new. Now let's compare it to its other covers. So this is the Waterstones cover, more or less exactly the same except for the foiling and the colour, whereas this is black and white. That one is white and purple. And I think this is the USA cover. It is completely different. I think it looks a bit garish. So we are into July, and the July theme was you win or you die. And this month's book offering was The Jasad Heir by Sarah Hashim. And this cover is very, very busy. It is a debut romantasy novel, and it is the first in a series, the series being The Scorched Throne, which I think the second one is already out by now. But this cover is very, very busy. There is gold foiling just on the border edges, but the rest of it is just pure art. There is a lot happening on there. And again, it has the same on the spine and on the back. More gold foiling, which I love it. And it has a quote from the book and sort of an intro, which is, "Get ready for an unmissable tale of shattered kingdoms, forbidden magic and cunning royals in Sarah Hashim's Egyptian-inspired epic fantasy debut." At 10 years old, the heir of Jasad fled a massacre that consumed her entire family. At 15, she buried her first body. At 20, her carefully crafted lies are starting to crumble. Now, the spread edges are all the way around, all the way for this pattern. I'm not keen on the pattern. I don't particularly like it. It isn't for me. Now, the hardback cover is sort of a gold sandy colour, and it does quite shine. And it isn't foiled, it is just a matte hardcover with the quote on the back, which is, every truth has its time. And it doesn't have anything on there. And the end pages are just wallpaper. There is nothing on here apart from that. It matches the sprayed edges, but for me, it's a bit boring, and there could have been art on here. And it's the same on the back. Now, it is the in-house artist that has done both the dust jacket, the hardcover, and the edges, that being Chatty Nora again, but she really did a very good job. Even if I don't like the end pages or the sprayed edges, I do like the cover. Now, this has an average rating of 3.9 on Goodreads. I haven't managed to get around to this one yet. I really am part of a mood reader, so I have to be in the mood for Egyptian mythology. And against the Greek mythology, it's always going to lose out. So let's have a look at what else came in this box. So as you can see on this picture, there was a Hunger Games towel, which I do use, and it is currently in the bathroom drying because I washed my hair this morning, so I'm not going to go grab that. But that does get used a lot. Now, for something that doesn't really get used, it was this velvet pouch bag. There is nothing in the pouch, nothing came in with it, and it is just a velvet pouch bag. Now, what I do put in it is sometimes I use little keys and things for sort of try to get Instagram aesthetic book pictures when I can be bothered, which you can find on my Instagram profile, linked down below. And I am shamelessly self-promoting, because if I don't, nobody else is going to do it. But I keep all the little things all in here. That's more or less what I use that for. There was a Guess the Character card game, which went in the recycling box because I don't do card games. I have nobody. It sounds so sad, but I actually have nobody to play with. You had to guess the character of a book that wasn't this book. It was a series that I've never heard of, let alone read. Now, if I'd got something like that now, it would be going on eBay because I would sell it. But back then, I wasn't really on eBay. I only got back into eBay last year. And we had some very, very cute little teacups. They, again, are in the kitchen cupboard downstairs. And I forgot all about them. Forgot to bring them up. I'm so useless. I'm so lazy as well, because I'm not going to go downstairs and go get them either. But this book currently retails on eBay, special edition and all, for around £8 to £50. Now, that is a very big window for that. You can get the full boxes on there as well, and you can get just the standalone book. Now, the window on eBay, like I said, is £8 to £50. On the actual Illumicrate website, you can get the book on its own for £20, brand spanking new, or you can get the full box if any of these items interested you that I actually had to show you for $29. Grab yourself a bargain if this book interests you, or if you're interested in the series, go ahead and go and have a look. Everybody deserves pretty books on their shelves, and they are not astronomically priced. Believe me, they're not. You can grab yourself a bargain. And if you sign up to the Illumicrate web newsletter, I really should be sponsored for this video, really, shouldn't I? But if you sign up for the newsletter, you get first dibs on when they have a sale going on. So they'll put some of like the older copies, say like this was in 2023, like some of the books from 2022 and 2021, they'll put them in the sale to get them sold, of course, and you can really grab yourself a bargain. Blurb for this one. 10 years ago, the kingdom of Jasad burned. Its magic was outlawed, its royal family murdered down to the last child. At least, that's what Sylvia wants people to believe. The lost heir of Jasad, Sylvia never wants to be found. She can't think about how Nizal's armies destroyed her kingdom and continue to hunt its people, not if she wants to stay alive. But when Aaron, the Nizal heir, tracks a group of Jasadi rebels to her village, staying one step ahead of death gets trickier. In a moment of anger, Sylvia reveals her magic and captures Aaron's attention. Now, to save her life, she'll have to make a deal with her greatest enemy. If she helps him lure the rebels, Sylvia will escape persecution. A deadly game begins. Sylvia can't let Aaron discover her identity, even as hatred shifts into something more. But her secret isn't as hidden as she thinks. Soon, Sylvia will have to choose between the life she wants and the one she left behind. The scorched kingdom is rising, and it needs a queen. Now, August's theme was hidden magic, and the book was Zara by S.J. Jones. It's busy, and it's little. It's smaller than the usual ones. Look how little it is. This is a young adult romantasy, and it is the first in the Guardians of the Dawn series. The second book is out already, but this cover is very, very pretty. Not my particular style of art, but it is very, very pretty. The only foiling is the title and the author name. It is a block colour spine, and it does have the same artwork there on the back. Block colour on the... is it? If it's supposed to be wavy, it's very faded. I want to say faded, but it's not faded, it's just dull. But on the bottom it is a lot darker, so you can really get the sort of wavy bits. And these are the sprayed edges. Now, what really makes this book pop is the hardcover artwork, because that is just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And it does flow all the way around if you have it like that. And the end pages are, looks like flames, like blossoms in flames, and it's the same over on the back as well. So the artist for this is, I'm going to butcher this as some awful, it is Kira Yukishiro. I'm not going to try and say it again, but she did the end paper artwork, the hard case, and the jacket. It's just wow. Let's get into the blurb. Magic is forbidden throughout the Morning Realms. Magicians are called abominations and blamed for the plague of monsters that razed the land 20 years earlier. Jin Zara has already had enough to worry about, appeasing her stepmother's cruel whims, looking after her blind younger sister, and keeping her own magical gifts under control, without having to deal with rumours of monsters re-emerging in the marsh. But when a chance encounter with an easily flustered young man named Han brings her into contact with a secret magical resistance organisation called the Guardians of Dawn, Zahara realises there may be more to these rumours than she thought. A mysterious plague is corrupting the magicians of Zanhe, turning them into monsters. Only magicians are susceptible, and Zahara, Han and their friends must find a way to defeat the plague before they or their loved ones are transformed. But as Zahara and company get closer to the source of evil, they discover an even greater danger, one that threatens to throw the Morning Realms into darkness. To prevent the balance between order and chaos from being lost forever, Zara must find the elemental warrior within. It does sound interesting, and this does have an average rating on Goodreads of 3.5. I haven't read it. I'm not going to. It doesn't seem like my thing at all. I think if I did read it, I would be forcing myself to read it, and that's not what I want. So this copy, this beautiful, unread, beautiful, lovely copy is available to buy on my eBay for, I think I've got it up at like 17, but you can put a bid in. I'll probably get rid of it. There's no point it sitting on my eBay pile. It deserves to be read. And by the way, I package things pristinely. If you can get into it without using scissors, then I have failed. I'm that kind of packer. I'm packing. But it sells on eBay from anywhere from £5 to £50. I've got it on there at, I think, 17. It is not available on the Illumicrate website. Now you might think I'm just saying that, but it isn't available on the website simply for the reason that the second book in the series is. It's on there, I think, for £20, the second one in the series, and where this one is like a pinky colour, that one is like a lime greeny colour. It looks really good on the pictures. But because I want to offload the first one, I'm not about to buy the second one, because that would be extremely silly. So it's a beautiful, beautiful book. Deserves a home. Please somebody buy it. Let's have a look at what came in the box. So what came in this box was this on here. It did have 6 character bookmarks, which went straight in the recycling boxes, because there were characters from a series that I haven't read, haven't heard of. There was no point me keeping them. It came with washi tape, which I've kept because I didn't know what to use it for, but now I have book journals for this year. That's what I'm using, and I'm also using like tape like this to tape up packing products when I sell them on eBay. And it came with a cup. I can't remember whether I have or not in my cupboard. And a pencil tin, which is this one. A black pencil tin, and it just has a quote on it. I wish for you not to go anywhere without me. In this world and the next, I wish for you to choose me. Which I don't use at the minute, but I had an idea when I got it out of my oddities box. I have pens because of my book journals just laid on my desk. And if I put them in here, then it'll keep my desk all nice and tidy. So I do have an actual use for this thing. So back to the book. It is signed by the author on here. Now getting on to September. And the theme for September was My Last Breath. I'm sure that's an Evanescence song. September's book offering for the theme My Last Breath was A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. It is a little book again. Not as big as some of these up here, and it is quite, the colours are quite sort of matte and dull, and it does have foiling on the letters and the author name and the title, but it's not the best cover, and I can't find the artist name for anything of this book anywhere. But the other covers for this book are these ones, because quite a few book boxes did special editions of this book. I think this one up here is a Fairy Loot edition, and this one down here, I'm not sure whose it is. Those two look infinitely better than this one, but the artwork does wrap around, and we do have praise for the book up here, which I don't like, I never like. So opening it up, the cover does look just like this. And it is a young adult fantasy, first book in a series of the same name. At the minute, that could change. But the end paper artwork is end paper. The hardback artwork is sort of a scrapbooky type feel, and it continues on the back of it. And the sprayed edges do wrap all the way around and reflect the cover. So end paper artwork is again quite muted in colour. I haven't read the book yet, so I don't know whether that's a theme in it. You'll have to let me know down below. And it's the same artwork on the back. Let's get into the blurb. Effie has always believed in fairy tales. She's had no choice. Since childhood, she's been haunted by visions of the Fairy King and found solace only in the pages of Angerhad, author Emrys Meridan's beloved epic about a mortal girl who falls in love with the Fairy King and then destroys him. Has she just told us the plot of the book in the first paragraph of the blurb? Bloody well hope not, because I haven't read it yet. Effie's tattered copy is all that's keeping her afloat through her stifling first term at her prestigious architecture college. So when the late author's family announces a contest to redesign his house, Effie feels certain that this is her destiny. But Hireth Manor is an impossible task. A musty, decrepit estate on the brink of crumbling into a hungry sea. Oh, that's what that is. And when Effie arrives, she finds she isn't the only one who's made a temporary home there. Preston Hillary, a stodgy young literature scholar, is studying Meridan's papers and is determined to prove her favourite author is a fraud. As the two rival students investigate the reclusive author's legacy, piecing together clues through his letters, books and diaries, they discover that the house's foundation isn't the only thing that can't be trusted. There are dark forces, both mortal and magical, conspiring against them, and the truth may bring them both to ruin. It sounds interesting enough, and this has an average rating on Goodreads of 3.7, so other people must think it's interesting too. Let's have a look at what came in the box. So this is a picture of what came in the box. Of the items in this picture, I still have the Gothic Romance book pot, which is pink and delightful and oh so shiny. And I don't store bookmarks in this one, it just sits on my shelf somewhere down there. We had a Villains Jigsaw, which was the same artwork as on the naked hardcover, and I sold it on eBay. So I don't do jigsaws. The jigsaws in book boxes go straight on eBay because there's no point me having them, I'm not going to appreciate it. There was the bowl cushion, which I usually use when I'm having soup and I have it on my lap. That is also something I've forgotten, which is down in the kitchen. And we got this wonderful magnet. Not a badge that I can pin on that wall deer hanging thing, which the light won't let you really see. But that is what it looks like. And I think it's beautiful. But back to the book. What is it retailing for? Well, this book at the time was quite popular, like I said. It did feature in other book boxes as well. And there were special editions of it flying everywhere. So this particular special edition, the Illumicrate version, does retail on eBay from anywhere £20 to £135. It just seems a little bit much. But then again, it is not available on the website anymore. So eBay is the only place you are going to get this version. But £135 is a bit much. Try to grab yourself a bargain, but in the best condition you can. And I haven't read this one yet. I'll get there eventually. It's one of my goals for the year to get through and read the book box books. I just haven't got there yet. Too many arcs are coming out and that sound interesting, and I keep applying for them and my TBR keeps crying. So we are into October, the spooky month. And the theme for this month was Fairytale Forests. Ooh. And this month's book was After the Forest by Kel Woods. It is little, again, a little book. And the cover is dark green with copper foiling. And it does look very fairy-tale-esque. But it does have praise for the book on the front cover, which I really don't like. I hate it enough when it's on the back of the cover, but on the front, I just don't like it. It's a pet peeve. It's never going to go away. So for a change on the back, it isn't foiled, it is just matte, but it does have a bit of a blurb that continues on the inside. So we'll go for the blurb. She knew the recipe by heart, could recite it in her sleep, and yet she was always careful to work with the book beside her, open at the same dusty page, the ink worn with long use. To not do so would result in an altogether different kind of gingerbread, no less sweet, but somehow lacking. It would serve, of course, but it would not smell the way the book's baking smelled, enticing and heady, full of rapture and delight. as though not to eat of it would be your very ruin. Greta knew how it felt. She had known the sweetness of the witch's gingerbread, could recall its hold upon her still. The little gingerbread house that had so entranced her and her brother all those years ago had been crafted with more than just cinnamon and cloves, honey and eggs and ginger. There was magic in it too, seeping from the book's pages, working its way into the dough. It was not only hunger that had driven them to eat it. And the blurb on the inside, 20 years after the witch in the gingerbread house, Greta and Hans are struggling to get by. Their father and stepmother are long dead. Hans is deeply in debt from gambling, and the countryside lies in ruin, its people starving in the aftermath of a brutal war. Greta has a secret, though. The witch's grimoire, secreted away and whispering in Greta's ear for the past 2 decades. And the recipe inside that makes the best gingerbread you've ever tasted. As long as she can bake, Greta can keep her small family afloat. But in a village full of superstition, Greta and her mysteriously addictive gingerbread, not to mention the rumours about her childhood misadventures, are a source of gossip and suspicion. And now, dark magic is returning to the woods, and Greta's magic she's still trying to understand, may be the only thing that can save her, if it doesn't kill her first. So this is a debut standalone fantasy novel, and if you couldn't guess from the blurb that I've just read, it is a sequel to Hansel and Gretel, which you can find my review of the original Grimm fairy tale up here. The history of that fairy tale is very, very interesting. Check it out. Let's have another sneaky peek at the artwork. So the hardcover artwork does leave something to be desired, because if not for the foiling, it is just matte, shiny and blurry on purpose. I don't know whether I like it or not. I haven't decided. That is the spine, and there is nothing on the back. I'm not keen on the foiling of it. And this is the end page artwork, which does give off that fairy tale, that old school fairy tale illustration vibe. I think they've caught that perfectly. And it's different artwork on the back. And the sprayed edges are dark green, and there is a lot happening on these sprayed edges. It's very reflective of the cover, apart from it being yellow. So let's see what came in this box. So this is what came in the box with the book. The green notebook I still have. It's currently upstairs with the book that I'm reading currently. It's where I write all my little notes for my reviews as I'm reading through the book. It helps when I finish the book and come to the reviewing stage, especially with arcs, because you have to have no spoilers. I like to write a little review when I'm just 2 or 3 chapters in. We have another sword, which came in this one and stays on the shelf with the others. There are also these book tabs, which I haven't got around to using yet, but I do use because I'm using some other ones first. But I will end up using these eventually. And it came with the gigantic purple mouse mat, which is sat on my desk in front of me with all my stuff on that I don't really want to take off of it, just to show you. It is beautiful. I use it every day. Now back to the book. This has an average rating on Goodreads of 3.8. Now I haven't got around to it yet. It is on my to-do list, but I haven't got there yet. And on eBay, this is selling for anywhere from £13 to £50. That is second-hand, of course, and it is available on the Illumicrate website for £20. Brand spanking new for £20 on the website if you want to snag yourself a pretty fairy tale sequel. Next month is November, and November's theme was anti-hero. And that month's book offering was Starling House, which I'm going to have to put on an angle because it is very reflective, by Alex Harrow. And this is a standalone fantasy/horror. Now we're going to get into the cover just simply because I'm going to keep doing that and it's going to show the light on it. Simply because it's a very unique cover for it. Although it does kind of go in tandem with the normal cover, which is here. But this one, because I am going to take it off, it does have a quote on the back that is, "I should be scared. There are stories about Starling House, the kind people only tell at night, half whispered under the hum of the porch light, but in the dream I don't hesitate. in the dream, I'm home. I'm going to take this off on here. Oh dear, which I'm not even going to have to do because it's shiny because it goes, and the hardcover actually features with it. So this is the naked hardcover. It's very Addams Family house. And it does have bits of gold foiling, which you can see if I hold it at the correct angle. Just shimmering on there. And on the back. So this is the front view of the house. And then we dip around to the back view. And again, it has little bits of gold foiling on it. Now the edges are blank, blank, and beautiful. So beautiful. They're so detailed. They're some of the most detailed, in fact they're the most detailed we've had all year, but they are just beautiful. And the end pages, again, artwork, perfection. And it's the same on the back. Let's check out the blurb for it. Nobody in Eden remembers when Starling House was built, but the town agrees it's best to let this ill-omened mansion and its last lonely heir go to hell. Stories of the house's bad luck, like good china, have been passed down the generations. Opal knows better than to mess with haunted houses or brooding men. Don't we all, but we just can't help ourselves. But when an opportunity to work there arises, the money might get her brother out of Eden. Starling House is uncanny and full of secrets, just like Arthur, its heir. It also feels strangely, dangerously like something she's never had. A home. Yet Opal isn't the only one interested in the horrors and the wonders that lie buried beneath it. Sinister forces converge on Eden, and Opal realises that if she wants a home, she'll have to fight for it. Even if it involves digging up her family's ugly past to achieve a better future. She'll have to go down, deep down beneath Starling House, to claw her way back to the light. It sounds so good, and I can't believe that I haven't got to it yet. Because of course I haven't. So let's see what was in the box with this one. So this is a picture of what came in the book box. The sci-fi cup, I think I still have. It's still in the kitchen cupboard downstairs. I'm sure I still have it. The skull bookends, I think they're in another room holding up more books. I do have the shopping bag, but I can't remember where I put it. And I do have this sort of skeleton dog hanging thing. So this book has an average rating of 3.8 on Goodreads. It was everywhere at the time that it came out, but I have heard hardly anything of it since. And it isn't available on the Illumicrate website anymore, so eBay is the only place that you're going to get it. And it is selling on eBay from 15, which is reasonable, to 55, which isn't the worst, but also it's a bit much. This book is just perfection. Now, Illumicrate have a tradition, I'm assuming, because they did it for 23 and they did it for 24, of having sci-fi be the December book. December's theme was In the Stars. So you're guaranteed it's going to be a sci-fi. And the sci-fi book was The Principle of Moments. And that cover is... there's a lot going on here. It does have silver foiling for a change apart from gold, with the world and the title, but I think it's the only book this year to actually feature character art on the dust jacket. And this is a debut science fiction novel, the first in the Order of Legends series. I have to keep looking up there because that's where it says it. And on the back we do have a copy of what's on the front cover, and we do have praise for the book at the top. The spread edges are all the way around, and they are just stars. And the naked hardcover is dark blue with silver foiling, and it says, "Courage is the only thing stronger than fear, and love is the thread that holds the atoms of this universe together." Very, very full, but I'm not so keen on not having artwork and just having quotes. It does have that, and it doesn't have anything on the back. Now, the interior artwork is very sci-fi for some of it. And like all Illumicrate books, it is signed by the author. Let's get into the blurb. The year 6066. In Emperor Thrasin's brave new galaxy, humans are not citizens but indentured labourers, working to repay the debt they unwittingly incurred when they settled on This is why I don't read science fiction. I can barely pronounce it. When they settled on Garan, a desert planet already owned by the Emperor himself. Asher Akindel knows she's just another voiceless cog working the assembly lines that fuel his vast imperial war machine. Her only rebellion, studying stolen aeronautics manuals in the dead of night. But then a cloaked stranger arrives to deliver an impossible message, and her life changes in an instant. In 1812, Obi Amadi is done with time travelling. Never mind the fact that he doesn't know how to cure himself of the temporal sickness he caught whilst anchoring his soul to Regency London, the one that unmakes him further with every jump, or if the prince he loves will ever love him back, or why his father disappeared. He is done, until he hears about the ghost of a girl in the British Museum, a girl from another time. When Obi's path tangles with Asher's and a prophecy awakens in the cold darkness of space, they must voyage through the stars, racing against time, tyranny, and the legacy of 3 heroes from an ancient religion who may be awakening, reincarnated in ways beyond comprehension. If I was into science fiction, it would probably interest me, but I'm not. So let's see what came in this box. This is what came in this box for this month. The sci-fi towel is in the bathroom. I do use that quite a lot. The weekly notepad, I keep it on my desk and I use it for my scribbles. I don't use it as a weekly notepad, I just use it as a scribble pad. I had the wall calendar for 2024 up all last year, right where the blue hanging thing that was at the start of this video is hanging right now. And this book pot. So if I ever just don't know what to read, it's not jumping in off the shelf, I can just choose a book and let fate decide for me. So most of it I do use. But getting back to the book. This has an average rating of about 3.6 on Goodreads. I haven't read it. I don't plan to. I do have this book listed on my eBay, selling at around £17. If anyone wants to snag themselves this copy, it's on there. It's never read because it's just not my kind of thing, and I wouldn't enjoy it. It is selling on eBay from anywhere from £5 to £25. I think I've got it at 17 because that's what it recommended. You can still find the book alone and the full box with all the items in on the Illumicrate website for £29 for the full box and £20 for the book. But please buy my copy. It's all alone. It cries on my shelf and I just don't appreciate it. So that is the months of 2023, all nicely wrapped up. Now we get into the pre-orders. And there are only technically 2. One I just couldn't not have. Now, like I said, my subscription started in March. But in January's book was Godkiller by Hannah Kaner. And this, although it's little, has turned into a juggernaut of a series, and I haven't read it yet. This is on my TBR for February, as the second one is on my TBR also for February, because the third and final book in the trilogy comes out this March. So I've got to catch up. Luckily it's only little, but I had to have this copy. This copy is not on the Illumicrate website. You are only going to find this on eBay. And it is selling on eBay from £30 to £260. Cha-ching indeed. But this copy is just gorgeous. It has a quote from the book on the back. The sprayed edges are beautiful. It is block colour on the top and bottom, but the detail on these is just unreal. This is the hardcover artwork going round on the back, and on the end pages it does have ivy and it is just gold foiling, and it is signed by the author on there, which you can't see because the light doesn't want to play. And it does have more of the same artwork on the back and more gold foiling. They really did a very good job with this one. Now also what came with this book is an author card letter. Now the letter alone, this piece of card alone from a letter from the author is selling on eBay just for this card from £5 to £20 for this. Just for the card, not for the book, not for the box. just the card. And we're going to read the blurb. Kissen's family were killed by zealots of a fire god. Now she makes a living killing gods and enjoys it. That is, until she finds a god she cannot kill. Skedi, a god of white lies, has somehow bound himself to a young noble, and they are both on the run from unknown assassins. Joined by a disillusioned knight on a secret quest, they must travel to the ruined city of Blenraden, where the last of the wild gods reside, to each beg a favour. Pursued by demons and in the midst of a burgeoning civil war, they will all face a reckoning. Something is rotting at the heart of the kingdom, and only they can be the ones to stop it. Like I said, I haven't read it yet. It is to read. Now, you might be wondering, with the astronomical prices that I've said that this goes for on eBay, and me saying that I didn't get this book box because my subscription started 2 months later, what did I pay on eBay for this copy? I snagged this copy for £55 for the book and the letter that goes with, which I think right now is an incredible bargain. At the time it was a bit of, do I really want it that much? Do I really want it that much? And yes, I did. I'm so glad I did, because I do have the second special edition. I have just pre-ordered the third special edition. Because I'm on the Illumicrate subscription, you get an advanced notice of buying the book, especially as you've bought the second one on the website. You get advance notice to buy the third one, which I think is a very good thing. But this, it is a perfect edition. Now, the other Illumicrate order I bought in 2023, I am quite embarrassed to admit how much I paid for it. I'm only going to get the first book because to hold the lot it is very, very heavy. But I bought the first run of the Bridgerton series, all 8 books, Illumicrate's special edition. The first run, they've done a second run and a third run, which is very annoying, but it's only the first run that is signed by the author. I couldn't resist. These books are beautiful. I'll put up a little video of what they look like on my shelf because it's all the way down there. But these are just gorgeous, especially with the hype that the Bridgerton series is getting. All different colours, all different foiling covers, and they are gorgeous. Now, like I said, I'm a bit embarrassed to admit how much I paid for these. At the moment I bought them on eBay, it was only a 1 print run. This was it. They kept saying they were not going to do any others, and then they did, which was very annoying because for the all 8 books I paid £450. And yes, I know I paid over the odds for it, I'm well aware. But the first run of this series, this particular series, the one that is signed, is going right now on eBay from anywhere from £500 to £1,200. The fuck? And people are buying it. I don't think it's available on the website anymore, either the second run or the third one, now that they've revamped the website. I can't find it at all. Are they worth that much? To somebody who loves Bridgerton, yes. To me, I paid too much of it. And I think once I've finished reading the series, I am going to sell it. But trying to sell it for £1,000 seems a little bit much. If I can sell it for what I bought it for, I will be a happy little clam. So let's get into our ranking. This video is very much longer than I thought it would be. So the box with the worst items for the year, for me, was Zara. I hardly use anything. It just didn't appeal to me. I don't think it helps that the book doesn't appeal either, and I haven't even bothered reading it. And the box with the best items, if you couldn't guess, was Lies We Sing to the Sea, because it's got the Greek book pot, the Greek teapot. I think the only thing I don't use out of that is the stickers, which I would have kept because 2024 Illumicrate sent us a sticker book to put stuff in. But everything about that box I loved. Now, because I have read some of these, we're going to get the worst by rating. So the worst rated Illumicrate 2023 book I have read has to be Some Desperate Glory. I hate it with a passion. It's a 1 star. I sold it and I am glad to see the back of it. Now for the best rating. And of course the best rating is Witch King by Martha Wells, because you really can't beat 5 stars. And that's what this gets all day, every day. If you haven't read it, what are you waiting for? What's the worst dust jacket? Now for me, it's not that the art is bad. It's just if I was laying them out all in a line, this one would be at the last. And that is Zara. Just because it's not that the art is bad, it's not. It's so completely not my kind of thing at all. I just don't appreciate it for what it is. I don't think there's anything much more I can say. And the one with the best dust jacket. The best dust jacket for me was Godkiller. I mean, look at it. How can it not be? Although there were so many good dust jackets, this is everything I love. I just love it. I love looking at it. It's just so beautiful. I just adore it. Now the book with the worst sprayed edges, and I think that has to be the Jasade, because it's just black. It's just not. And the one with the best sprayed edges, is Godkiller. Again, Starling House was a very, very close second. If I hadn't have bought this, that would be my top one, but you really can't beat this. Now onto the worst hardcover artwork, and for me that is After the Forest, because it just doesn't do it for me. It's a bit blurry. It's just not my kind. No. And the one with the best hardcover artwork, how could it not be? For a hardcover that is parts of the actual dust jacket, it has to be Starling House. Just has to be. It's got foiling, it's got the Adams house, it's atmospheric, it's ghostly, it's mystery, it's so much possibilities. Now the one with the worst internal artwork, and that is The Sun and the Void. Because I'm not keen on character art at the best of times, and it looks a bit... I just preferred all the others. It's not that it's bad artwork, I just preferred the artwork in the other books. And the best internal artwork, to my mind, Lies We Sing to the Sea. Because I know there's not much artwork for it, but I like the use of just the blue. I like the use of the bits of gold foiling. I like everything about it, and it was my first Illumicrate book, so I am a little bit biased. But that was my wrap up for 2023. Let me know your thoughts on these books down in the comment section below. Have you got any of these? Do you plan on buying any of them either on my eBay or from the Illumicrate website? Let me know in the comments below, and remember to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'm sorry that this was such a long one.
With each drop of ruby red, stories live, no tears are shed. Castles glimmer on the hill, echoes of a life fulfilled. With the dawn, new hope is born. In this heart no longer torn. Sip the wine, embrace the night. Dark stars journey shining bright. Through the trials, through the pain, love and light shall still remain.